Let's say you get really sick and you go to the hospital, but it's late in the evening. Is the hospital staff going to say, hey, it's after 5 o'clock, you got to come back during business hours? The answer is no, which is why it is past 2 o'clock in the morning and I just got home from work. What's up everyone, Mike Muellner here. I'm an internal medicine doctor from Los Angeles, California, and today I want to talk about my favorite shift, which is the evening shift. So this is a hospital shift that starts from 5 p.m. and lasts until 1 a.m. And the purpose of this is for two reasons: cross coverage and also hospital admissions. So normally when a doctor works during the day in the hospital, he or she might come to work at 7 a.m. and then leave typically around 5 or 6 p.m. But then what happens after hours? Somebody's got to be there in the hospital to cover his or her patients if any emergencies arise. And for this reason, you have the person who's assigned to cross coverage duty. And so what happens is I show up at the hospital, usually, I have to be there right at 5 p.m. because I pick up the cross coverage pager from the doctor who holds it during the day. Then if there's any emergencies that arise, let's say somebody gets really short of breath, or maybe somebody starts having chest pain, they're worried about a heart attack, they will give the pager a ring. And then I call it back and then can address any emergencies that happen after hours when the primary doctor is not available. But it's not just emergencies. It's sometimes more mundane, basic stuff like, let's say you have a patient who goes in for surgery, they complete the surgery, everything's going just fine, but there's no diet order. In the hospital, a physician is required to order the diet. So that's an example of a kind of more boring order that I might place after hours. But the evening shift is not just cross coverage, I also do hospital admissions. So this is where I will do the initial evaluation of a patient that comes to the hospital. There's really three ways that you can enter the hospital, right? You can either go through the emergency department, that's probably the most common way. In this case, it'll actually be an ER physician who will see the patient first. And then if that doctor deems hospital admission to be necessary, then I get a call for that. But also direct transfers. So in this case, a patient might already be admitted to a different hospital, but then has to transfer to my hospital for a specific reason. Usually it's some kind of tertiary care need. Maybe they need, let's say, a cardiac MRI, and maybe the other hospital is not capable of doing that, so the patient will be transferred over. So that's a direct transfer. A third way that you can end up in the hospital is with a pre-scheduled admission. So most commonly we see this with chemotherapy. Let's say somebody with lymphoma is already scheduled to undergo chemotherapy because the chemo requires very close monitoring, several days in the hospital. That hospital admission will be prearranged by the oncologist or the hematologist. And then when the patient arrives, the hospital doctor or a hospital doctor like myself will get called to carry out the admission. So there you go, cross coverage and admissions. That's the primary role of the evening shift. I really like this shift because there's a lot going on after hours. It's never boring. And unlike a full overnight shift where you're in the hospital the entire night, in the evening shift, I get home at sort of a reasonable hour. Like I got home at, maybe it's a little after 2 in the morning. I'll be in bed by 3:30. So it's not great, but you can at least have sort of a normal schedule. Whereas when you're on all night, you go to bed at 9 a.m., you're going to pretty much sleep the entire day. So I think it's a nice mix. You get the fast-paced after-hours work, but still have kind of a normal schedule. So there you go. That's a quick breakdown of the evening hospital shift. What do you guys think? Is this something that you would like to do, or do you prefer work hours that are more 9 to 5, more of a standard workday? Let me know in the comments section down below. And if you like healthcare related content like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button there or check out another video here. And I'll catch you guys next time.